Priya took us on that path where she showed there are two divergent paths, and then how a person, even a sannyasi who is calling himself a sannyasi, has to overcome his weaknesses. And this is perhaps a constant journey which we all have to take, even if we have not taken the sannyas. And the term which we often hear in the context, in the speeches here, nirvana, is a Buddhic term. Nearest to that is perhaps moksha. She also used towards the end, mumukshutva. Mumukshu is someone who gets that moksha. So she has done justice to the topic which was given to her. And now we call upon Brother Dinakaran, and he would talk to us on self merging with universal self. Self merging with universal self. That's his topic. And a few words about Brother Dinakaran. He is a person who has hailed from a theosophical family, joined the Adiyar Lodge in 1983, and then he has served for 3 terms. I believe the 3rd term. He is now currently the Secretary of the Kerala Theosophical Federation. One thing which I see, whenever I see him, whenever I meet him early morning when at 5 o'clock, cheerful face, very, very cheerful all the time. And he served as TS National Lecturer of the Indian section long time ago when there were very few people as national lecturers in those days, maybe 4 or 3. He was one of them. And Kerala Sahitya Academy has published one of his books in Malayalam, and that was talking about Theosophical Society and Renaissance of Kerala. How TS helped Kerala to find its true self, true state of the nature of the state. Then compiled books of Radhaji, and also Brother Surendra Narayanan, who was the international vice president sometime back during Radhaji's time. And he is someone who is very keen to live a theosophical life. So we have Brother Dinakaran to speak to us on the subject of self merging with universal self. Brother Dinakaran.
Thank you, Chairperson, Brother Krishna, for his kind words. Dear brothers and sisters, for the last 2 days, we were trying to answer few questions. Already I counted nearly, there are 16 questions posed before us by the organizers. In philosophy, asking question is more important than getting an answer. Moreover, it is very interesting. Just like in mathematical equations, you may get more than one answer. Both answers are correct also. So, in this context, I would like to answer this question by quoting Light on the Path. The soul of man is immortal, and its future of a thing whose growth and splendor has no limit. So I hope partially I answered the question rightly. Then, Voice of the Silence talks about treading the path and how to realize the real self. It says, in order to become the knower of all self in capital letters, thou hast first of self to be the knower. Then, through that real self in us, we shall realize the universal self. In fact, the two are one. But to know the real self in oneself, The lower self must be set aside, must become a not. As we have already seen, the utter destruction of self personality is the very first task of the initiate on the path proper. In Buddhism, it is called Shakya Ditti. The delusion of personal self is the first fetter, first obstacle which must be cast off. That fetter is not created by any other person but ourselves. And another thing which we notice in Light on the Path is that seek it not by any one road. To each temperament, there is one road which seems the most desirable. That means we should have great tolerance in our approach. But the way is not found by devotion alone, by religious contemplation alone, by ardent progress, by self-sacrificing labor, by studious observation of life. None alone can take the disciple more than one step onwards. All steps are necessary to make up the ladder. In its commentary, Leadbeater says, new ways of service are constantly being opened up as mankind advances in brotherhood. Actually, the three books which we consider in this conference, Light on the Path, then Voice of the Silence, and At the Feet of the Master, are definitely intended to quickening of the evolution of those who are on the path. These books put forward ideas which men in the world are not usually prepared to accept. It may be of your experience. You might have given At the Feet of the Master to maybe 200 people in your life, to your friends. But how many people are appreciating it? Because you are giving, including ourselves. We are men of the world. We are trying a very razor-edged path as a man of the world to tread the spiritual path. That's the thing. They are not prepared to accept it. Only so far as a man leaves the teachings will he be able to really understand it. Then we cannot say that we are treading the path and others are not in the path. We have clear instruction in our book. Remember that the sin and the shame of the world are your sin and shame, for you are a part of it. Your karma is inextricably interwoven with the great karma. This was clearly explained by Krishnaji in another term. You are the world and world is you. So a person on the spiritual path cannot condemn others that they are not treading the path, they are not doing the proper things. But including, when we say the world, we are responsible for the world situations, whether philosophical, religiously or environmentally, whatever may be, we are also responsible. Then, philosophically when we approach it, the way and the truth come first, then follows the life. Each man is to himself absolutely the way, truth and the life. On this Easter day, it will be proper to remember the words of Jesus Christ, who said, I am the way, I am the truth and I am the life. Then how to seek out the way? Seek it by study of the laws of being, the laws of nature, laws of the supernatural, and seek it by making the profound obeisance of the soul to the dim star that burns within. Yesterday, many people talk about this inward light, slowly burning light, dim star, etc. Here, as everyone knows, the path means the spiritual path which leads us to the human progression and perfection. The secret science or Gupta Vidya depicts this path very clearly. Often we may ask ourselves how to tread this path, who will guide us. Jesus Christ said, as I pointed out, I am the way, the truth, and the life. When the Christ Spirit is within us, we will get the answer. Then, a great philosopher was there by name Thomas A. Kempis, who wrote the book Imitation of the Christ, which many of you are familiar. He said, without the way, there is no going. Without the truth, there is no knowing. Without the life, there is no living. I am the way, you must follow the truth which you must believe, the life which you must hope for. The way and the truth come first, then follows the life. That is mentioned in Light on the Path, Rule 17. Then Rule 20, it says, each man is to himself absolutely the way, the truth, and the life. Then, as pointed out, each man has his own way of approaching this path which treads to the ultimate reality. As Krishna says, howsoever man approach me, even so do I welcome them, for the path men take from every side is mine, O Partha. It is 4th chapter of Gita says. So, any path you take in this direction will be the path. But that path will be according to your own temperament. Then, in small 3 words, Light on the Path says, seek out the way. This is a command in 4 words addressed to every one of us. Still, we ask ourselves, should I study these thoughts at all? Did I not seek out the way? Just to pause a while and think, are we treading the path? Travelers are many and their destinations are also varied. People travel the road to success, material prosperity, power, position, and so on. As at the feet of the Master says, all these will be sufficient for one earthly life. At another place, Light on the Path says, inquire of the inmost, the one of its final secret which holds for you through the ages. So when the final secret of this great lesson is told, as it is opened, the mystery of the new way, a path which leads out of all human experience and which is utterly beyond human perception or imagination. A spiritual seeker treads the path for its own sake, not for any personal motive or achievement. The great Rishi who wrote Shedvashedara Upanishad says, Vedahamedam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasaparasta Tameva Viditva Adimrutyumedi Nanya Pantha Vidyade Ainaya. I know him, the mighty man, radiant like the sun, beyond the darkness. Him and him only knowing, I cross over death. No other path at all is there to go. When we consider ourselves as the physical body, we know it is the most susceptible one to disease, old age, and death. So, what is beyond this mortal coil? Thinking people always inquire to find out that mighty man. And finally, when they realized, they declared, I know him. Buddha, Christ, and many sages who inquired the deeper questions of life, who realized this truth and explained it to others. But for us, it is only another description. Many are satisfied with these descriptions and narrations, but we, the Theosophists, cannot remain at that level. Light on the Path again says, seek the way by realizing, retreating within. All our search or inquiry is based on the outside factors. with our indriyas. To look within, we do not require much help, but we fail to do so. In rule number 12 of the same book says, "For within you is the light of the world, the only light that can be shed upon the path. If you are unable to perceive it within you, it is useless to look for it elsewhere." All the austerities prescribed in various religious texts points out the same truth, to look within. If we again take the golden stairs prescribed to us, given to us by HPB, to the learner points out the importance of serious milestones or steps on the path. A clean life is suggested as the first step. Cleanliness in all aspects, inner and outer, is a precondition. Emptying ourselves from the dross is very important. A cup is useful when it is clean and empty. Can we empty ourselves from the evils of anger, jealousy, greed, ambition, avarice, etc., etc.? The list is very long. Who can clean your inner compartments? We ourselves can only do it. Nobody can substitute it. Sometimes a wise teacher will act as a mirror to see ourselves in a better way. He may help you to look within yourselves and brush aside the gathered dust. Other step, like open mind, pure heart, and eager intellect, teaches us the necessity to have a mind not colored by preconceived notions and prejudices. Nature, when the sun rises, every flower opens to receive it with pleasant smell. Like that, our minds should be open to receive higher intuitions. A closed mind will not be able to contain it, as if a closed vessel is unable to contain anything. Sages time immemorial suggested to clean ourselves. It is a continuous process, not a labor of 2 or 3 days or even years. It requires an unveiled spiritual perception. We have to remove the veil which blinds our vision. A loyal sense of duty to the teacher, and believe the teacher to be in possession of it, or the behest of truth, is also considered as part of our duty. The ancient sloka, Guru Stotra, may be familiar to you. Atjnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakhaya chakshurunmilidam yena tasmai Sri Guruve Nama. He who removes the darkness of ignorance or the blinded by applying the ointment of or medicine of spiritual knowledge, he who opens the eyes. Salutations unto that holy Guru. This is one of the slokas of Guru Stotra. Geoffrey Hodgson, great theosophist, has written on 7 human temperaments. We already talked about it. That is why it is written, seek it not by any one road. To each temperament, there is one road which seems the most desirable. The way is not found by devotion alone, by religious contemplation, by ardent progress, by self-sacrificing labor, by studious observation of life. Why the masters say so? Each one who is comfortable on his path thinks that will take him to the destination. But these are just like the steps of a ladder. If you have to climb up, you should be ready to raise the foot to the next step, leaving the other one. Attachment and detachment. Learn this lesson of attachment and detachment at a time. All the steps of the ladder are required in our climbing. One who sticks on to a single step delays his onward journey. That is the conflict and contradiction between the various sects and religious cults. Even the vices of a person become steps in the ladder. One by one, they are to be surmounted. That is the purpose of this whole life. People often ask why these trials and problems in the life, why we are in this world. The great Patanjali, the exponent of Yoga Sutras, says, Prakasha kriyas tidishilam budendriyalmagam bhogapavargartham drishyam. For experience and liberation, the seen, objective side of manifestation consists of the elements and sense organs. Is the nature of cognition, activity and stability, sattva, rajas, tamas, and has its purpose providing the Purusha with experience and liberation. So don't condemn this world, don't neglect the problems of this world. These are all for experience and liberation. All this experience is the best teacher. There's a saying in Malayalam, Vedhapola rivodidunna Sadguru Martinu Vera Illatan. Vetha means sorrow. It's the best teacher for you in this journey. The spiritual path was not an easy one for who tread it. I need not explain much because the life of H.P. Blavatsky, Annie Besant, Colonel Olcott, all are real examples. H.P.B. was considered as a spy, as a charlatan. Dr. Besant was once honored by everybody at a time. And then after the 1920, she became a British agent. It's very interesting. Once people hailed her, at the same time next day, just like the entry of Jesus Christ to Jerusalem, everybody worshipped him. My time is 25 minutes. 18 minutes over. Okay. So, next reaction of the public, of the general, will be to condemn that very holy person with a cross, with an iron crown and all that. Then this path is nothing but the path of Nishkama Karma, a complete oblivion of the self. The Eightfold Path of Lord Buddha is also another path which gives you direction in this spiritual journey. On this Easter day, I would like to conclude my talk with the words of Saint Paul in Philippines. Because first thing we have to correct or cleanse is our own mind, because mind is the slayer of the real. So, slay the slayer. That doesn't mean destruction of the mind, but clean that mind from all the obscurities and problems. Then St. Paul also concludes his chapter, finally, brothers and sisters. It can be addressed to you also. St. Paul's words, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. 8 things. One is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and praiseworthy. Here again comes 8 points given by St. Paul, just like Ashtanga Marga or Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga or the teachings in Gita. In Gita, one chapter is fully devoted to various tapas, Vak tapas, in tapas of the Indriyas and all that. These are all leading us to tread the path. Gita says, worship given to devas, wise men, teachers, straightforwardness, continence, and harmlessness are called the austerity of the body, speech causing no annoyance, truthful, pleasant and beneficent. The practice of the study of the scriptures are called the austerity of speech. Vakmayam tapamuchade. Mental happiness, equilibrium, silence, self control, purity of nature. This is called the austerity of the mind. This threefold austerity performed by men with utmost faith, without desire for food, harmonies, is said to be pure. Gita points out the sattvic discipline to be followed by an ardent aspirant. No doubt this is a razor's path, but we have to tread this path on this spiritual journey. So, I would like to thank all of you for patiently listening on this serious subject. And I am grateful to the organizers of this conference and also to the Indian section for giving me an opportunity to talk to you on this fine morning. Thank you.